Welcome back. Markets today, it's Friday. We are talking about Scan Group and also engaging with Mr. Sang. Our graphics team will put up the price chart for you. You can be able to just see what's been happening with Scan Group. It hit a low of 6.5 shillings, and this is coming from a high of 25 shillings that was recorded on the 28th of July. Scan Group sold off one of its subsidiaries, and the management team as well as the board approved a special dividend of 8 shillings per share to be paid out to the existing shareholders. The record date for this 8 shilling special dividend was the 28th. You can see the trajectory of the chart there, that the price comes off, then it goes down, up, and then it tapers down. After the record date, what typically happens is if this counter has actually issued 8 shillings per share as a special dividend, after the record date, anybody who's not on the registered doesn't qualify for the 8 shilling share dividend price. In effect, the next day after the record date, the share has to adjust from 25 shillings minus 8 shillings to actually get the correct price, and thereafter then the market decides at what level it wants to trade it at. When the announcement of this special dividend was made, and that was in 1st of July this year, the share was trading at about 16 and a half. This material information was positive for the market, and it was the key driver for the rally from 16 and a half all the way to 25. After the dividend was paid, we saw an expected price correction. It traded at about 11 shillings per share, but it has been coming off and has hit a low of 6.5. Yesterday, we saw it come back up. It traded at 7.7. Today, just as we're coming to the show, it was trading at about 8.5 shillings per share. What is happening there? In a nutshell, there was a one-off transaction in terms of the sale of one of its subsidiaries. In other words, the 8 shilling share dividend per share that was declared and is to be paid out, has already been paid out actually, is not expected to recur in the market anytime soon. In other words, this was a one-off event. They sold a business, they distributed this profit to the existing shareholders. So the price points that we need to be looking at are the price points prior to this particular announcements, and this was about the 14 to the 16 shilling mark. From 6.5, we have seen a bit of speculative activity on the stock, and I think the key thing you're looking at is saying if it gets to 6.5, the only way it can go is up. 10% up is what it did yesterday. It hit 7.7 shillings per share. It looks like today it will be again up another 10 percentage points to the 8.5 shilling mark. In other words, if you bought it at 6.5, you've already made 20% return. Is there an upside for this stock? Possibly, there could be an upside. It could probably go up all the way to about 10 or 11 shillings per share. It will take a much longer time maybe to get back to the 16 shilling level, which is where it was normally trading at before the onset of this special dividend and the sale of one of its businesses. What I'm really saying is at 8.5, at 7.7, if you're looking to possibly make a 15 or 20% return, there could be a short window for you to buy this stock, ride it up to the level of about 10 to 11 shillings per share, and then exit. But always know that in the stock market, you're not the only person who sees this opportunity. There are numerous people who are also keeping an eye on what's happening. So you want to be quick if you're going to act on some of this information, especially if it's speculative and if it's short term. You want to be quick. You want to see when it hits a low, and when it's not going lower further, then you want to take a quick decision and say, ask yourself, can I make a 10-15% return on this stock? Fair enough. Am I willing to put money that in case I don't make this return, I'm okay with? Fair enough. Then the next thing is you want to be able to have a brokerage account, trade on that on your mobile phone or on your online phone, and make a shilling or two. Now, in studio, we are joined by Mr. Sang. Mr. Sang is an avid investor, always curious, always engaging, always wanting to know what's the next thing and how can I be part of this thing. We have hosted him here a couple of times for the last 1 year. It's always a privilege and a delight to have him back in studio. Welcome back, Mr. Sang.
Thanks for having me.
How are you doing? How's Corona? Have you made money during the COVID-19 season?
Hey, Corona ni ngori.
Corona
imeleta shida sana.
Corona imeleta shida. Kwa nini?
But, somehow we had to find a way of making money.
How did you make money?
Kutengeneza pesa.
Yes.
Okay. During this period, you see, they said ndimu is cure for corona.
Yes.
So
so you're the people who are taking up the prices for lemons.
Yes, I can say so. So me, I used to go buy lemon from Wakulima market. Unajua watu wengi hawapendagi kwenda huko. Kuna matope mingi. So I just wear my gumboot naenda huko na nanunua lemon na shilingi 5. I come sell to my friends here at the office at 20 shillings.
Oh wow.
Kina Tobiko watu wasafi, kina Ingrid, watu wapendi matope. I mean, I've made 15 shillings.
Yes. And you still sell it? Do you have some? I could buy some of you today.
Yes, and some ginger also.
Okay, is it?
Yes.
Is that something that you want to continue doing, or now have you just stopped doing it altogether?
Sasa corona ikiisha sidhani kama watu wataendelea kununua.
Watu wamepona sasa.
So tutatafuta tena. Tutatafuta hustle lingine tena.
Okay.
Then you see at times tena unakaa rada. Kidogo unasikia colleague wako simu yake imeingia kwa maji, and you know of a friend who sells phone.
Yes. So kazi ni kukaa rada.
Yeah, kazi ni kukaa rada. Yeah.
But I like that you've said that, because also when you talk about the Nairobi Securities Exchange, pia huko kazi ni kukaa rada. Kuangalia kila siku.
Okay.
So like what we were discussing earlier, we were saying Scan Group imetoka 650, sasa ishafika 850. Hiyo ni 2 bob already. Alafu kuna hizi stocks zingine kama Equity. Equity ilitoka 2850. Sasa iko 36 bob.
36 shillings.
Alafu
in a period of what time?
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Wewe ulinunua?
Hiyo ilinipita kwa rada. Lakini sasa niko rada. Sasa niko rada. Sasa nimerudi.
Okay.
You know, because what was happening in August, the foreign investors had left the market, and then now they have come back into the market, so demand soko imeanza kujenga tena, so unaanza kuona basic zinaanza kwenda juu. We've seen a lot of activity kwa stocks kama KPLC, Kengen, zinaitwa penny stocks. This is a 2 bob, 190, 150. Ukianza kuona activity inapanda hapo, unajua yenyewe labda kuna kakitu unaweza katafuta hapo.
Kweli.
So I like that. Pia sisi kwa soko la hisa tukai rada.
Lakini sasa nini utajuaje sasa hii price ya hii stock inaweza panda? How can you tell that?
Venye tu hii stories uliona kuna wase uliona opportunity. The same thing. Unaona kama hii sasa, kama hii Scan Group kuna mtu aliona imefika 650. Ule mtu aliona vizuri alisema sasa 650. Can it go low? Because it started going low. So what you do is you look and say, maybe it was 10, then it went to 8, then it went to 7. Now when it gets to 650, you want to look at it for a day or two and see, is it still going lower? If it's still going lower, you probably don't want to still buy it when it's at 650. You want to see how much lower can it go. You know. Then ukiona sasa ime reverse, the other key parameter you want to look out for, or trigger point, unataka kuangalia kuna volume inapita. Juka saa hii Bamburi imeenda 20 bob.
20 shillings.
20 shillings per share. Imagine Bamburi Cement.
It was down initially.
No. It used to be up.
It used to be
up. It used to be over 100 bob.
Oh.
Now it's 20 shillings. So if you're looking at Bamburi, I mean, you have to be cautious, because like before I came here in the market, it traded, I think today it's just before I came, I had traded 200 shares. So the volumes have been very thin. So if you're going to speculate, na kuspekulate haununui long term, unanunua tu for a very short period, unataka kuangalia hii stock imekuja chini sawa. Can it go lower? No. Alafu the next thing unataka kuangalia kuna volume inapita. Jua kuna haja buy stock alafu kesho uwezi ukauza. So that's liquidity. Unataka kuangalia, is there demand? Is there no demand? So like when we started the show, I was talking about Kengen and Kenya Power, tumekuwa tukiona 1 million inapita, 1 million inapita. Sasa unaanza kuangalia, unasema hapa kuna kitu inafanyika, kuna kitu na miss. Just ile place tumefika saa hii Mr. Sang, tumefika globally na locally ni kukarada. Soko venye zina trade squeeze ni zina trade on news. Kukiwa negative news inaenda down. Kukiwa positive news inaenda juu.
I'm particularly interested with hili ya Scan Group. Ulisema 1st July it was the price per share was going for 25 shillings.
That was 28th of July.
Of July. Sasa how did they manage that? Na hiyo time bado kulikuwa na corona. I mean businesses were still low.
Walilipa, waliuza one of their businesses.
Oh, okay.
So they sold one of their businesses. Alafu wenye waliuza hiyo biashara, wakasema hiyo pesa waliuza nayo, watapatia shareholders kama dividend, kama mapato.
Okay.
So venye wamerudishia shareholders kama mapato, walipatia kila shareholder shilingi 8 kwa share.
8 shillings.
8 shillings per share. na hiyo siku wali make hiyo decision, when they made that decision, hiyo share ilikuwa ina trade 16.5. 16.5. So 16.5 wakasema hey, tunawapatia 8 shillings. So watu walikuwa wanajua kutaki kuna kitu itafanyika, hawako wanajua itakuwa 8 bob. So venye ilifika 8 bob, sasa kama mimi nimeshika hiyo share 16, siwezi nikakuzia, na kwambia kama unataka niuze 16 ongeza 8 bob.
8 shillings.
24 bob. Sasa ndio ikafika 25. Sasa kuonesha ule mtu alikuwa anataka kuuza, alikuwa anakuambia kama unataka kupata hii 8 bob, wewe niongezee juu mimi sitaipata nikikuuzia. Juu unajua wakisema wanalipa 8 bob wanakuanga na kitu inaitwa record date.
Record date. So what is a record date?
Ni kusema you have to be on the shareholder register on that day.
For you to be eligible
get that,
to...
Yes, for you to be eligible for that dividend.
Okay.
So nikisema kama tuko na bash, hii mlango inafunga 5.
Usipofika by 5.
So usipofika, so inakuanga hivyo pia kwa soko, like kwa dividends wanasema hii mlango tunafunga hii siku. So unapata sana kimbia nataka inapeleka bei juu. Hiyo siku ikifika, the next day hakuna kitu, bei inaanguka.
So it's not only all about having some cash umeweka mahali and then you just see the opportunity unataka kuwekeza.
No, lazima work. Ni kama hii story yako ya ndimu. So ulikuwa unajua ndio watu wanataka ndimu. So either ungekaa kwa hao yako ujuange tu Tobiko anataka ndimu, ama ungejitoa uende wakulima ujaribu ununue ndimu ukuje uuze, ungejua.
Okay.
So lazima uone alafu act, lakini lazima pia ukairada kiasi. Juka saa hii venye ilienda 650, kuna watu hawakujua hiyo dividend record date ilikuwa imefanyika. So wakabuy hii share 20 bob.
After they closed.
Yes.
Okay.
Not after they closed, before they closed. Okay. So they bought it for 20.
So they were still eligible for the...
If you bought it at 20, you were eligible. Because 20, it went all the way to 25 on the day that it was paying that dividend. And then it started now coming back down.
It went up all the way to 25 from?
16.5.
From 16.
But ukifanya 16.5 plus 8.
16.5 plus 8, that's 24.5.
Which is 25.
25,
yes. So what happened is before they made that declaration, the market now had to adjust, utalipa 8 bob. So it went up to 25 to reflect the dividend. And then now after the dividend, on the record date, it has to do -8 again, to show that ukinunua hii stock haupati hiyo 8 bob.
Okay.
Unaelewa? So it's ex-dividend now. It doesn't have any dividend affiliated with it. Yeah.
This can group umeiongelea naona ni opportunity, because you said for the last 2 days it's been appreciating from 6.5, it's now at
8.5.
So hapo
unaangalia juu sasa venye unaweza ukaangalia, so from 6.5 there are two things that drive sentiment. Kuna ule mtu ataangalia 6.5 aseme ay kitu dogo itaenda chini tena. Kuna ule mtu anakuanga speculative. So kwa soko tunakuanga na watu wawili. Kuna watu wa fundamentals na kuna watu wa speculative. So fundamentals ule mtu atafanya research yake, angalia aseme hii kampuni it's not making as much money as it used to make in the past. Results, ilitoa half year results. I will hope to discuss that one of these days. Wametoa half year results. Their operations, of course, they've been affected by COVID. Sindio, huyo mtu atasema, hii biashara ina affectiwa na COVID. I don't think they're going to have good profits. So hivyo sidhani watanilipa dividend anytime soon. Aseme sitaangalia. Huyo ni mtu anaangalia fundamentals. Huyo ni ule mtu anataka kujua ABCD, which is very important, especially if you're going for long-term investments. Alafu kuna ule mtu mwingine anaitwa speculative. Ule msako, niaje, unaendaje leo? Ule msako reda, anatafuta tuka wewe. So unasema ushamaliza hiyo story ya lemon. Sasa unatafuta the next thing. So kuna huyo msako hivyo anaangalia anasema 650, anasema 10%, 7.7. 10% tena 8.5. Anasema kitu kutoka 650 ifike hata ikifika 9 bob. Nishaomoka. Na anasema nimeomoka, mimi nimemake ka 10-20%, mimi niko fiti. So kuna huyo msee. So kuna huyo msee anashanga tu anaangalia. Kunaendaje wase wanasemaje? Nini nauzwa leo, nini tunanunua leo? Kuna huyo msee. Lakini of course hata wewe kutoka experience yako ya kuuza ndimu, unajua kwa huyu msee, huwezi kwa huyu msee one off. Ni kila siku uko niaje. Juu hiyo soko itaendaje. So those are the kind of people that are there. And so if you're one of those people like you're just looking for a short term opportunity, there's some stocks zinakuonesha hiyo opportunity. Lakini lazima ukwange unaangalia soko, prices ama unaangalia hisho ndio ujue aje, reda inakaaje, wase wanasemaje.
Maybe for example you said Scan Group, there's a company you said at the start of the show, you said it bought majority of shares from Nini Scan Group.
Yes.
Now does it change the ownership of that particular company? And my question is, maybe new management,
Yes.
a new boss, a new CEO, can he in a way affect maybe the price per share in
Okay. So what happens is, remember, the shareholding of a company is like a cake. So it's a cake that's cut up into different little slices, right? Then everybody takes a cake, but there's a price for it. So kuna ule anakuja anasema, Mbuyu, mimi niko na do sio shida. I'm liquid, Anasema, me I want the whole cake. Asa naambia Mbuyu, sasa utakula cake peke yako. Anyway, there'll be the majority shareholders, the people who buy more pieces of the cake. Then there will be the minority shareholders. Ule anasema, mimi nataka tu a quarter of a quarter of a quarter of a quarter of a
small
slice.
scale investors.
Small scale. So wanakuanga hivo. So what happens in the public space, because it's on the NSC, anyone can buy, anybody can sell. So the shareholding keeps changing.
Okay.
But the thing to note when it comes to shareholding, majority holders, like now for Scan Group, it's WPP. WPP is a foreign company. Majority holders will tend to hold on to their stock because they bought it for a strategic reason. So hawana haraka, they'll hold it for a long time.
Okay.
Pale unaonanga movement in terms of share ownership changes ni on the smaller side. Because like for instance, if you went and bought the share today and you want to hold it for a week or two, after 2 weeks, you're no longer a shareholder.
So you're telling me the longest period of time you can hold your stock is only 2 weeks?
No, you can hold your stock for as long as you want. The way the market works is if you buy a stock today, in 3 days, the stock appears in your CDS account. It takes 3 days to process the stock transaction.
Okay. The see what?
CDSC.
That's the brokerage account.
Your brokerage account.
Okay.
Your brokerage account. So if you bought whatever stock today is Friday, it would show on your account on Tuesday. So you'd be able to trade it on Wednesday.
So I cannot buy the same day and trade the same day?
No, it doesn't happen like that. Sindimu.
Okay, sawa.
Sindimu. Then the next question you're asking, if you get new management, does that have an impact? It has an impact because when you're buying a stock, you're buying its future earnings potential.
That's true.
So the people who drive the earnings are people. You know, so it's the people under the leadership of the CEO. So when you're looking at a company, you want to understand the managers and how are they? How do they think? How are they quick to spot opportunities? Are they able to see challenges ahead and protect the company shareholders? So when there's a change in management teams, you'll normally see people asking, is this the right person or not? Like Safaricom, there was a key management change. A new CEO came on board. So when that announcement was made, now shareholders start to ask, do we trust that this guy can continue delivering the performance of the past? Then
so some were even tempted to sell their shares.
Some people will say, but I mean, you can't. It would be irrational. It would be foolish of you just to sell because someone has changed. Because a company is a going concern.
It's true.
A company is it's it keeps going and going and going. And what you want to do is to ask yourself, can this person continue delivering the previous results? And secondly, what value are they bringing to the table? You know, unless it's because it's not only the CEO who runs the company. He leads, he champions, but he's not the person who's cooking. He's not the person who's executing. Like here at Metropole TV, for this show to happen, there are many people behind it. So you cannot decide because one person has changed, I don't want to be part of the Metropole TV space. It's unless there's been a considerable change in the way the business environment and how the company operates. That's when then you want to start asking yourself, should I be in this stock or not?
Okay.
Yes.
Now, that begs a question. So, according to you, the best time to buy stock is when the price per share is critically low. Then ukae rada sasa uongoje.
Exactly. Ni kama imagine when you describe ndimu. Kama uko na buy ndimu 5 na unauza 20. Kesho kurudi sokoni uambiwe ndimu ni 10. Si utabai bado useme lakini inaweza nikauza. Then the next day ikifika 50 kuna pali itafika kuseme ai pia wewe Mbuyu umekuja sana. Si ndio? Hivyo ndio pia soko iko. Kasa hivi yenye tulikuwa tumeona kama Equity na KCB Equity ilikuwa kaa 28 ikifika 36 bob. Ai unajiuliza nikibuy 36 inaweza kafika 40. Kama uone inaweza kafika 40 unasema yenye imekuwa expensive acha niingoje huku chini. That's the same way you look at it.
Is there a minimum like minimum cost a share can cost maybe ile imerudi chini kabisa, price per share ya kampuni fulani imerudi chini kabisa, the lowest it can hit.
The lowest it can hit. So you buy shares in lots of 100 on the Nairobi Securities Exchange. Any name that you want to buy, there's 64 names there. You have to buy a minimum of 100 shares.
100 shares.
So whatever stock. So for instance, we were showing the prices for Kenya Re and Kenya Power. You need a minimum of 2,000 shillings to trade because they're trading at about 2 shillings. So it depends on the stock that you want to buy. If you wanted to buy a more expensive stock, so for example, INM is trading at 43 shillings. 43 shillings. So if you need 100 shares, that's your 43. Exactly. And then if you want to buy a share like Safaricom is at 30. So 30 by 100, that's 3,000 shillings. There are more expensive stocks that are there. BAT is I think at 334. So you would need a minimum for 30,000. So it just depends on the stock that you want to buy. What you need to know is that you need a minimum of 100 shares to buy.
Okay. So you see, most of the nini companies that are performing well in our stock exchange mostly are banks. So me as a first-time investor, is it appropriate for me, okay, to consider buying stock from
the banking sector?
Yes.
It is, but you have to be selective.
Okay.
You can't buy, like KCB and Equity Bank today have already run. They've had a good run because they've come from, Equity came from 28, now it's at about the 36 shilling level. KCB came from a low of 30, it's now at about the 36 shilling level. So if you buy it at 36, you're buying it at the very top.
Okay.
If you buy it at the top, it's like your Ndimus. If the market wants to buy your Ndimus at 20 and you buy at 20, you won't make any money.
Okay.
That's exactly how it is. So you don't want to buy some of this at 36. You want to see if they get a bit cheaper. But then there are some stocks that have also lost price, so they could possibly increase in price the same way that Equity and KCB has increased in price.
Okay.
Some of them include the likes of ABSA has been there. So ABSA is still below 10 shillings. So you ask yourself, can this thing, how far up can it go? We've also seen NCBA hit a low of 23 shillings per share. We've seen INM also hit a low of 43, Diamond Trust 65. But you have to be very cautious as well. You know the way you understand lemons.
Yes.
You understand where to buy and who will buy them from you.
It's true.
And you know how to tell a good lemon from a bad lemon.
It's true.
So you have to spend some time trying to understand these banks. The environment today, it's a shaky environment. So you don't want to just go buy because of the sake of buying. You want to understand these individual banks. Which one looks like it will be able to weather this storm of COVID-19? Which one do I feel is going to make money for its shareholders? So even though you're looking at it, you're not just buying because it's cheap. You have to buy it because you can see that there's value behind the cheapness.
Okay.
Yeah.
Having said that, can I solely use, there is an app you told me, the Chikuza app.
Yes.
Can I solely use that to buy and sell shares?
Exactly.
I just have to look for a broker.
No, what you do is you go to your phone and you can download the NSE, my NSE app. When you download it, it shows you a list of all the brokers. Of all the brokers, only 6 of them have the capability for you to trade on your mobile phone.
6?
Yes, 6 of all the brokers. Then you pick the one that makes sense for you. When you open with a broker, it's like your bank account. The way you trade on your bank account, not trade, transact. You see, when you go to your bank account, if you have a mobile line,
Yes.
and you've connected your mobile line to your account, you just use it to transact, right?
Okay.
So it's the same thing with shares. You just go say, I want to buy, I want to sell this, what price? Then you put in money, you fund your account through M-Pesa, and then you're able to buy or sell shares. It's as easy as download it on your phone and you're good to go.
Okay.
Yes.
2 questions on bank stock. You see, some of the banks, last time they said they were not going to pay out their dividend. Can that in a way erode investor confidence?
Yes, it can. Because what central bank has said that before a bank can pay out a dividend, it needs to get concurrence from the central bank. What this means is with COVID-19, the banks have been lending out money, but the companies they're lending to might not be able to pay back, right? Which would have an impact on the operations of the companies. What the central bank is saying is we must make sure that your company financials are strong enough to be able to withstand anything going bad. So what they're saying is before you pay a dividend, because when you pay a dividend, you're taking money out of the company and you don't know how tomorrow it's going to look like. Central Bank is saying before you pay, let's consult. Let us look at your numbers and see if you're okay. That's an important point because again, as you're looking at these banks, before you used to buy them because they'll pay you a dividend. But now the opportunity of that dividend, at least for the next 1 year, has declined significantly. So now the core reason why you're buying the banks today is because you think it will move from a low price to a high price. You're not necessarily factoring in the dividend.
Yes. Okay, recently the Central Bank of Kenya said, they advised these banks that before you pay a dividend, you have to seek approval from us.
Yes.
And then they also said something about the cap rate. It was removed, but now you see the interest rates, the banks are not still at will to charge whatever interest rate. So meaning they're still making a low income. Now, are these regulations from the Central Bank of Kenya, are they good for a first-time investor like me?
They're good for the banks. Yes, they're good because it just tells you that the central bank is looking out for the stakeholders and the shareholders of the banking sector and they're paying attention. So the industry in Kenya is relatively strong. We have it's very strong. We have a very strong banking sector. It has been resilient in spite of what COVID has done to the economy. And we have a very, very good regulator. The regulator amekaa read in a bank. So amekaa read in a bank. So very, in terms of just ensuring that the right things are being done. So what I'd say, the comfort you have is when you're investing in the banking sector in Kenya, any bank that you invest in, especially the larger banks, you have the comfort that the regulator is doing their job and they're doing an excellent job at it.
Okay. So sasa wewe kama expert, can you advise me to buy bank stock now or currently?
So as I said earlier, it really depends on the stock. I would not tell you to buy KCB or equity at this level. It's pretty high there, 36, no. If it comes back lower, maybe to the 33 level mark, that makes sense. But then I would encourage you maybe to just go and look at some of the results that are out. Like NCBA has announced its numbers, so that you can see, are you comfortable with the numbers that they're bringing to the market? It's trading at 23. I think it hit a low of 20. Now it's back up to 24. So there was a short-term window there. There could be another slight short-term window. Then INM is also another one. It's come to as low as 43. If you even look for a 10% return, it can maybe even go up to gain up to maybe 50, 55. That's a good return. Diamond Trust Bank, we've also seen it come to a low of 65 shillings per share. So there are some opportunities, but you have to be very keen and maybe just read up a little bit so that you're very comfortable in terms of when you put your money, you're paying attention each and every single day to see what's happening in the market, so that when anything turns, you're quick to respond and get your money out.
Okay.
All right.
I'm so much grateful. So let me now go and sit down and just look at the percentage of my income that should go into investing into Scan Group. You talk about
Fantastic. Okay, but I do hope that you're first and foremost putting money aside for your emergency fund. It's important to put money aside for your emergency fund before you start investing, because with investments you can gain or you can lose your money. So it's important to have put some money aside before you do that. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Sang. That was Mr. Sang, always very inquisitive, asking us lots of questions. I hope you were also able to learn. Let us know where you're watching us from. What are you going to do over the weekend? I hope you'll probably spend some time going through the financial news, gloss over the NSE website, come to our Metropole TV page on YouTube, look at what we've been saying the whole week, and try and see if you can make a decision on where to put your money next week. That's all from us this week. We look forward to engaging with you next week. Thank you and good afternoon.